A barefoot Adam Neumann descends from a sleek private jet, his eyes distant, murmuring lines from the Bhagavad Gita. In one hand, he clutches a settlement worth 60 million, his golden parachute for crashing the company he founded. Just hours later, emails begin firing off. Thousands of WeWork employees are laid off. Some receive severance, most don't. The offices they helped build are being gutted, and yet Adam walks free, unscathed, even revered in some circles. As the screen cuts to black, only one question lingers in the silence. How did this man convince the world to hand him $47 billion and lose it all? Adam Neumann didn't pitch numbers. He preached philosophy, towering, charismatic, with an Israeli accent that seemed to hypnotize rooms. He spoke of a world united by shared workspaces and spiritual purpose. "We're not just renting desks," he'd say, pacing barefoot across a stage. "We're elevating the world's consciousness." It sounded absurd, but it felt revolutionary. Founders wanted to be him. Investors wanted to follow him. He called employees we growers, buildings we spaces, and himself the steward of a movement, not a CEO. Every time the numbers faltered, he doubled down on vision. He promised a world beyond capitalism while quietly embodying its excess. Venture capitalists, entranced by the cult of Adam, threw billions into the void, not because they understood the model, but because they believed in him. Behind closed doors, partners admitted they had no idea how it would make money, but Adam did, and that somehow was enough. For now, from Manhattan to Shibuya, from Shoreditch to San Francisco, the WeWork logo became a global symbol overnight, an emblem of modernity, collaboration, and cool. Glass walls, neon signs, meditation rooms, and kombucha taps painted a picture of the future of work. Journalists called it a movement. Startups swore by it. Politicians praised it. But beneath the sleek surfaces and curated vibes, something vital was missing. Profit. The business didn't scale. It bled. Leases outweighed revenue, costs crushed margins, and the math never added up. But no one cared, because WeWork wasn't selling space. It was selling faith. Adam's charisma spun a narrative so intoxicating that logic got left behind. Investors poured in billions, not to own a real estate company, but to belong to a revolution. People didn't just rent desks. They bought into a story, and like all mirages, it shimmered until it didn't. The world didn't invest in WeWork. It invested in a dream. Behind WeWork's glossy facade, the warning signs were glaring, but painted over with confidence and charm. Buildings were leased at outrageous premiums in cities where demand was shaky, yet expansion never slowed. Each new space was celebrated like a victory, even if no tenants existed. Despite mounting losses, the company's valuation kept doubling, reaching heights that defied basic math. Behind the scenes, Adam Neumann quietly cashed out, hundreds of millions withdrawn through stock sales and side deals, all while insisting he was all in. He bought homes, a Gulfstream jet, and even trademarked the word "we," then charged his own company to use it. When analysts raised eyebrows, they were dismissed as cynics. The myth was too seductive. Everyone, from venture capital giants to everyday employees, wanted a piece of the revolution. Asking tough questions meant risking exclusion, so no one asked. And in that silence, the cracks deepened, masked by swagger and belief. Late one evening, buried in spreadsheets and glossy investor decks, a junior analyst at a prominent hedge fund pauses. She's combing through WeWork's financials, numbers that should tell a story, but they don't. Revenue is ballooning, yes, but so are losses. Lease obligations stretch decades into the future, dwarfing cash flow. Growth looks impressive on slides, but the foundation is brittle. "These numbers don't make sense," she mutters, highlighting inconsistencies and bizarre related party transactions. She brings it to her manager. He barely glances before waving it off. "It doesn't have to," he says flatly. It's WeWork. In that moment, she realizes the truth. The due diligence is performative. The excitement around WeWork isn't built on financial logic. It's built on FOMO. No one wants to be the fool who missed the next big thing. Her concerns are shelved. The fund doubles down. And one quiet whisper of doubt is swallowed by a chorus of blind belief. Inside WeWork's shimmering offices, employees sip cold brew and attend mandatory mission alignment sessions. They're told they're not just part of a company, they're part of a movement. Posters on the walls declare, "Do what you love." But behind those glass partitions and plush beanbags, panic brews, internal emails leak, operating costs are triple projections, key locations hemorrhage money, and occupancy rates are quietly slipping. Finance teams scramble to plug holes, revise forecasts, and spin numbers that make the chaos look like growth. Still, Adam pushes forward. He launches schools, residential housing, and wellness ventures, none with proven models, all draining capital. Every question about sustainability is met with vague answers about community and long-term vision. Employees begin to whisper, nervously comparing notes. Some leave, most stay, because questioning the mission feels like betrayal. The glass walls are see-through, but no one's really looking. The mirage is intact, for now, in a sleek Tokyo. Boardroom, Adam Neumann paces barefoot, arms wide, selling not a pitch but a prophecy. Masayoshi Son, head of SoftBank and known for bold bets, listens intently. Within an hour, Son commits $4.4 billion, sealed with a handshake. Adam leaves triumphant, already sketching out his next expansion on the flight home. But behind the glass, Son's team sits in stunned silence. They've just poured billions into a company with no proprietary tech, no defensible edge, no intellectual property, just leases, oversized ambitions, and charisma. Weeks later, internal SoftBank. Reports express alarm. Adam is burning through cash, funding schools, buying wave pools, and eyeing a private island retreat. There's no sign of discipline, no roadmap to profitability. One executive writes, "We didn't invest in a company, we invested in a man." And even that belief is starting to crack. The boardroom lights dim, but something irreversible has shifted. The tide is turning when WeWork's long-anticipated S1 filing hits the SEC website. Excitement turns instantly to disbelief. What was supposed to be a celebration, the path to a $47 billion IPO, becomes a public autopsy. Investors devour the document, and the rot is undeniable. Nearly $900 million in losses in a single year. Adam leasing buildings he personally owns back to WeWork. His wife, Rebecca, legally empowered to choose his successor if he dies. The language reads more like a spiritual manifesto than a financial prospectus. Words like energy, soul, and elevation fill spaces meant for balance sheets. Wall Street, usually tolerant of startup excess, recoils. Analysts laugh. Headlines scream. Behind closed doors, investment banks begin distancing themselves. Even long-time backers feel the burn of betrayal. One VC mutters, "We knew it was weird, but not this weird." The IPO stalls. Confidence evaporates. And for the first time, the public sees WeWork for what it truly is, a ticking time bomb. Inside WeWork's upper ranks, the atmosphere shifts from euphoric to uneasy. Once loyal executives, CFOs, COOs, legal advisors, begin quietly stepping down, their names removed from press releases without explanation. Behind the scenes, board meetings grow tense. Questions are raised, answers deflected. One senior leader resigns after a shouting match with Adam over unchecked spending. Another simply leaves a note on their cleared desk. This isn't a company, it's a cult. Staffers who once parroted Adam's mantras now whisper about erratic decisions, lavish spending, and a founder more focused on optics than accountability. Some execs are pushed out, others walk on their own, unable to justify staying in what's becoming a financial and ethical nightmare. Investors notice the churn. Emails leak. One board member privately confesses, "We're not building anything. We're chasing smoke." The inner circle, the myth-makers, are splintering, and without their loyalty, the illusion that held WeWork together begins to unravel. As WeWork's valuation soared and the IPO buzz reached fever pitch, Adam Neumann made a move few knew about. He quietly sold over $700 million worth of his own shares. Through a maze of loans, secondary sales, and off-the-books arrangements, he secured his fortune while the company still spun stories of infinite growth. Employees, meanwhile, were bound by lockups, told to hold their equity, to believe in the other mission. For them, stock options weren't just perks, they were promises. A single mother in HR checks her phone late one night, watching news of the IPO collapse. Her unvested shares, now worthless. She'd passed on another job for this. Adam, meanwhile, is buying more properties, a mansion in the Hamptons, a retreat in the Bay Area. The disparity is brutal. As the company teeters, one thing becomes clear. He got out while he could. They never even had the chance. The betrayal isn't financial, it's personal. The official line remains calm. We're still strong. We're evolving. But behind the polished PR statements, the walls are crumbling. Offices once buzzing with energy now sit eerily quiet. Entire floors empty, kombucha taps dry, desks collecting dust. Layoffs begin quietly, then cascade, first hundreds, then thousands. Yet the public face stays frozen in denial. Journalists sense the